Hi everyone, welcome back to the Perkins Custom Swim Bait channel. Today we have an exciting episode. Today we're going to go over the top swim baits that I personally choose when going into the fall months. You know, September is here now. We are right around the corner of really getting into all of the fall fishing. You know, late September, October, November, December, until December water temps really start dropping, offers some of the best fishing year-round. You know, during the fall, really, you know, it's kind of the fall feed window. The fish are they're eating and consuming just as much bait as possible to be able to stock up and get ready for the winter. So I want to talk about the top baits that I look at and kind of my thought process as to how I kind of approach a day on the water when throwing the big swim baits in the fall. So first, let's kind of just define the fall as not so much by water temperature, but more so as just when things start changing. So two big things is going to be when the daytime light temperatures, when the daytime light, you know, it starts getting darker earlier. So the fish are automatically going to be receptive to it being shorter daylight hours. And secondly is going to be your nighttime temperatures start dropping. We might get up into the, you know, mid to high 80s during the day, but we're dropping into the 50s. And even in these coming weeks, we're actually getting down into the upper 40s. So you can kind of tell we're starting to see a lot of these different temperatures are starting to come. So the fish are going to start being very receptive to that and then changing off of their summertime patterns going into this fall transition, getting geared up for winter. So they're going to start feeding really, really heavily. So, you know, during the fall months, the challenge is, and this is myself included, is finding the fish. The fish in my area relate almost exclusively to bait. So trying to say, okay, well, they're going to be on a point over here, they're going to be on a bluff wall over there, it just doesn't work out that way all that well. It tends to be, hey, we're in 100 foot of water, there's a bait ball in 10 foot or on the top of the water, and there's just thousands of bass just absolutely feeding like crazy. So it's just hard to actually say where your fish are. So what I would say, at least based upon my area, my style of lakes, which are highland reservoirs, find the bait and you'll find the fish. That is the most important thing during the fall, is find the bait. Because if you're fishing a bank with no bait, you've probably not got the greatest of chances of finding the fish, because they are going to be absolutely gorging on shad this time of year. So that's the kind of background. We're going to start, of course, with swim baits, but we're going to start smaller and I'm going to go up in size, because I would love it if anyone, please put down in the comments, if your bass relate to during the fall months, they really get hyper focused on small bait fish. So my fish in my area during a certain period of the fall, they really get hyper focused on that first year hatchling of the fry from the shad spawn earlier this spring. So you've got all of your threadfin, all of your gizzard shad that have just hatched. They get hyper focused on this 1.5 to 3 inch size. So you're having a really hard time trying to match the hatch, because there's very few baits that actually can do that all that easily, especially if you have to try to cast it a great deal of distance with that bait. So one of the biggest baits that I throw during the fall, at least to try to mimic these smaller baits while also maintaining my cast distance, is the Alabama rig. You know, I will always have an Alabama rig tied on in the fall. You know, and one of the reason being is, so I've got all my baits, and it looks like I've actually had a tail nipped off of one, but I have tons of baits. So I can change the size so easily. And if I really want to experiment, I'll change that middle one. I'll experiment with him and I'll see what size I want him to be. Oftentimes it'll be the biggest. And I'll link my A-rig video in here, because that video really details how I set up my A-rigs for myself personally. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link to it right up here. Feel free to check that out, and hope you enjoy. But getting back to it as to kind of what I'm looking for with my A-rigs is they just give me the ability to cast. I can get so much distance out of an A-rig, and then the blades themselves is about that 1 to 2 inch blade length. These are size 3 blades, I believe. That's 2 or 3. You know, willow leaf blades. That's what I make my A-rigs out of. I do make my A-rigs if this is your first time tuning in to the Perkins Custom Swimbait channel. And if you are enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit a little subscribe button down below and the notification bell. Completely free, doesn't cost anything. It just helps you know when new videos come out. And my schedule for new videos is every Tuesday at 5 p.m. I do my best to always hit it on 5 p.m. but that's my schedule. So it's a weekly video of swim baits. So kind of going back into that A-rig, you can change your baits to whatever is in your preference. You know, I mean, this is the X-Zone Swammer. You can throw the Mega Bass Hazendong shad, the 3-inch Spark shad. I don't have any with me right now, but the Kitech, the 2.8, 3.3, 4.3, 5.8, you name it, you've got it. You know, Kitech's got a size for it. So you can really load up that A-rig. And the beauty of it is you get to try to mimic a school of bait. The blades are there adding flash to help the fish actually recognize and notice your bait. And you can just catch fish with it. It's a phenomenal bait this time of year. I love to throw an A-rig. I always have one tied on. I almost have one tied on year round. But it's a great bait and it works great. All right, so bait number 2. And it doesn't have to be this bait, but some sort of topwater. You all know that I've been really enjoying throwing the evergreen shower blows. I do throw the 150. It's the big one. It is just under 6 inches. It's 5 inches and 7/8. So it's a big bait. I love throwing it because it comes with such a great sound, and it has a wonderful walk to it as it kind of comes through the water. I can both go fast or kind of at a moderate speed. I'm not forced to absolutely floor it, but this time of year, typically I floor it. Go as fast as you can hitting that rod to make that bait walk. Typically I do throw walking baits. Another option is a wake bait. You can definitely throw a wake bait this time of year. You know, something that will really just kind of crawl on the surface and generate the strike. That is another fantastic option, which, like I said, I just don't have right in front of me. But a wake bait is phenomenal this time of year. All right, so next, let's just go ahead and knock out the kind of top water, semi-top water, high in the water column. And the next one's going to be a line through swim bait or a belly treble swim bait. I say that loosely there because it does include like the mag draft. The mag draft's not a line through, but it's a belly harness swim bait. It's a phenomenal swim bait to be able to throw during the fall. Another option, 316 Rising Sun, the actual Rising Sun, not the top hook. You want something that's going to stay high in the water column. And then lastly, you know, you can do the 6-inch whale. These are just some options. You can rig any swim bait as a line through. So don't feel like you need to go buy any of these. You just need to figure out like what is your favorite type of swim bait, and then kind of rig it with a belly hook, and then be able to keep it rolling on top of the water. You know, and this is not a bad time of year to be able to have that swim bait to where it almost floats and it actually creates a wake as the tail is kicking. It's a great time of year for that too. Another option is the booty shaker. If you've gotten to see those by Jinko Fishing, the 5-inch booty shaker, it gives off a great thump in the water. I use those a lot with a treble, a belly treble as a line through. It's a great way to do it. And they're very easy to skip. And you also don't have to have designated like swim bait equipment for them. So next up are the ones that I enjoy throwing the most. And yes, I guess predominantly is because I build them, but it's going to be the Glide. And I'm throwing, you know, these are the Jethro 6.0s. So the Jethro is a 6-inch glide bait from the tip of the nose to the end of the tail, and it's a very choppy style bait. It chops really hard, but I can work it really fast. As you can kind of tell, I've added some wire to the front treble on the pink one here. It's really not to sink it down. I just wanted to be able to go faster. So you increase the weight on the bottom of a glide bait, and you'll actually increase the stability to be able to go faster. Because the sink rate's changing, you're actually increasing weight to cause the sink rate. So that's kind of why I'm doing that, but speed is the way I'm looking at this. I want speed. As you can tell, I've got bone and then I've got bubblegum shad. Those are the two colors that I've got holding up. I'm not really too concerned about color. I mean, yes, color is important. I don't want to like say that color, you just throw it out the window, but it's kind of like this time of year, they are so tuned in to bait. Having something that stands out can sometimes get you that extra bite. You know, bone is a very universal color. It works everywhere. And then pink, I've been targeting smallmouth a lot here recently. So, you know, pink's a really good color that smallmouth do not like and they get very angry with. So it's definitely been a fun 2 sets of baits to kind of work with and interchange. So, you know, typically I'm starting out with bone just because I can appeal to all 3 species really well, and then I'll switch it up to pink as I kind of see if the smallmouth will take it. So those are the major baits for me in the fall. Now, this kind of gets into it a little bit more as you're getting into some of these deeper schools of bait. So let's say your bait's not on top of the water, because as you'll notice, with the exception of the Alabama rig, I really haven't talked about getting baits down in the water column. So the reason being is, number one, typically there is a fantastic topwater bite in the fall, and it's just a whole lot of fun to be able to take advantage of this. And you know, I know everybody's thinking, well, you know, you're targeting these bait balls with, you know, forward-facing sonar, live scope, the whole 9 yards. You know, you absolutely can, and it's going to help speed the process up of finding the bait, but you do not need that much this time of year. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I didn't have live scope, so what I focused on is you would find an area and you would just look, use your eyes and look for disturbance on the surface. Are you seeing bass blow up on shad? Are you seeing shad flicking on the surface? If you see that, more than likely you're going to have fish around. And, you know, then just kind of rotate through your baits. Throw your A-rig, keep it high in the water column, run it hard. Same deal with the top water. You know, use your super spook, use your shower blows, walk it right over top of where they should be. Vary your speeds up. You know, do they want it fast? Do they want it moderate? Do they want it kind of slow? You just have to experiment to see exactly what the bass are keying in on that particular day. But now going back to my, you know, before, kind of got a little bit sidetracked there. If you're noticing that you're not seeing as many fish up high, and if you do have a live scope, this helps a lot, because you can find these deeper bait balls. And oftentimes with the deeper bait balls, you'll find the bigger fish. So what I've got here is a crank down swim bait. It's a 3-piece, 2-joint crank down. This is one of mine. This is a Jethro 6.0 body with a lip put in it. I can get this bait down between right around 14 to 15 feet on a really good cast. It swims really well. It comes with a good head, not, you know, rock and everything. This is a new bait for me this year. That's why you really haven't seen me talk about it a whole lot. You know, with the exception of just like blanketed comments about crankdowns. But my goal is to really kind of focus on this a lot this fall and try to catch one. Now, it may not be on this color. I may switch it up and go with something like the bone, or a little bit brighter color for the fall. But either way, I'm going to throw that crank down quite a bit, just because I want to see how well it will catch fish down deeper. 15 foot, that's a really deep range to be able to get that bait. And I build the bait, so I'm looking forward to seeing how well it works. So, you know, that is my approach. Find the bait and you'll find the fish. The fall is a phenomenal time. There's a lot of people that put their boats up. They go hunting this time of year, so you've got prime time to catch a lot of fish while a lot of people are off the water. The pleasure boaters are going to start getting off the water once the daytime temperatures start dropping quite a bit. So it's going to get a little bit calmer out there, so you won't have wakes rolling every 5 minutes. So it's going to get, the fishing is getting ready to get good very, very soon. I wanted to get this video out to help everyone. And not just help everyone, but also so you all can help me too. So feel free to comment below your top favorite baits this time of year. And don't worry if it's not swim baits. If it's a super spook and a Kitech, put it down below. I'd love to hear what your favorite bait is. A buzz bait, you know, you name it. I'd love to hear it, interact with you. It's all part of the community that we're building here, and just wanting everybody to definitely feel free and be more than welcome to read comments, talk amongst each other. So, you know, love to hear what everyone else is planning on throwing this fall. And then likewise, if you're planning on being in a deer stand, put that down below too. You know what days you're not in the deer stand, what are you throwing? So we'll have some fun with it. And I appreciate everyone's time. Thank y'all for watching again. If you have stuck around, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And likewise, hit that little subscribe button and the notification bell. That just helps build our community here, and it lets you know when new videos come out. My schedule is 1 video per week on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can find a new video here each Tuesday. But hey, I appreciate everyone's time. I hope you have a wonderful fall catching some absolute monster bass, and I'll see you in the next video.